Hi folks, Toaster back. I've got a replay by Combatineffective today. We're going to do a little bit of commentary and replay analysis on his game. And I want to start before we really get out of the gate. He is a mid-tier. He's in his T-34-3. We are in the map Westfield. And I've watched this a couple of times because I want to give a little bit more advanced tips. Combat is actually a pretty competent player. And he plays this fairly well, but there's just a couple of things that really I think he could have done that would have helped him secure more damage. And part of it is to do with having mods. I know Combat runs mods, and so one of the mods that he has shows if everybody's been lit or not. And that becomes important, using that information as opposed to just having it, and we'll show you why. So let's go ahead and get started and get this thing going. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit. He's choosing to go to the other side, and that's an okay play, but there is a bat chat on the enemy team, and therefore his team is not going to get to the knoll first. So right away we know that it's going to be somewhat of a defensive game on his part, right? So there's the bat chat, got spotted, and let's slow it down here, and we're just going to kind of show how it plays out. Now, one of the things that Combat does, I think right here is a decent position, but the enemy team, let's see here, me and my zoom out, okay, can sneak up to here without being spotted, and in a bat chat that can mean death. It ends up being death for this guy over here because he's in a worse position, but if you're this far up you can get sniped from in the back here. Now the bat chat doesn't play it very well and he gets lit, partly because we do have a Pantera a little bit further up. Good job Pantera for moving up a little bit. And there we go. Let's get back into first person. But this Pantera gets lit. And the fact that he fired there was not a wise move. So I think that's a waste of a shot there, Combat. I think I would have just immediately switched to heat rounds and been ready for that mod 1. Again, I think you're a little bit too far forward. So he does get a shot into the bat chat 25 AP, and he looks for another shot, but he ends up not getting it, and instead hits the mod 1. So it's him and an STA up here alone, and that's kind of okay because they have a overmatch on the other side, and he is perma-spotting all of these guys that are trying to cross here. So one thing, let's let it go a little bit here. But one thing that you'll notice is that the entire enemy team is lit except for a Pershing. Okay, he's getting ready to leave, except for a Pershing and an Object 430. And so I think he's got support over here, right? And I don't necessarily mind this falling back, and because he could get clipped out by the bat chat, and the bat chat is not that low health yet. So I don't really mind that move. But instead of backing off to where the STA is, he backs off to this little corner here. And that is really dangerous because you can see that there is a light tank lit over there. And if that 430 or the Pershing were there, then now we know he doesn't have to worry about the Pershing now, but we didn't know that when he went in this dip. So that is, 700-800 damage he could take all at once if those guys were perched up over in this area. So I do not like this play, and I really don't like him staying in this location because he's opened himself up to shots. Fortunately, that bat chat AP is a horrible shot, and he gets away with it for the most part. Keep in mind, I mean, he's got 2,000 damage, so he's doing well. He's doing a good job, and falling back, I understand. I get that. I think that that's the right play to make, right? So, but now let's look at the map one more time, okay? We know that there's a bat chat down here and likely nothing else here, right? Because it's 8-2, and everybody that's been lit is either on this side, save that 430, we don't know where he's at, and this bat chat, and this bat chat's probably running for his life right now. The STI has side shots on anybody that's over here, okay? But he's out of draw range of all these guys and out of draw range of these guys, okay? So if it was me, I would poke up, see if anybody's poking this corner, and then come back to this location to get a bunch of free assist damage. Because, I mean, he has a good game, don't get me wrong, but that could make this game so much better. Because we know, and here comes the STI, he's coming down the hill, he lights up the light tank, but I think you could be a lot more aggressive in this position. Because the game is over already. Your team has won, correct? So, instead he's kind of taking low percentage shots, and if he had come around just this way, I bet you that T-34 Mod 1 wouldn't have even spotted him. And you notice that the STA-1 or STA-1 has made that decision and has moved up. However, he makes some serious mistakes here. When there's a bat chat alive, you cannot afford to go out in the open. It's just not a wise thing to do. And he's pushing out in the open. So, you would have known too that bat chat moved away. The thing is about keeping someone proxy spotted at this corner, they cannot leave. They cannot go. And so I don't necessarily agree with this poke either. And the reason I don't agree with it is anybody, that 430, if he's over here, he's going to hit you. Potentially, you didn't know the bat chat was lit until you lit him. You didn't know where this Pershing was, and those guys could have just worked you over. One guy tracks you, and you're dead, right? So it's smarter maybe to come over to this side, see if you get lit, back off, go around, and see if you can make it through back to this knoll over here. And you've got cover of a dead tank, and once you get in this dip, you're not, basically you can't be shot by the guys over on this knoll anyway. So that's another idea. This is just a really, it's a very aggressive spot. Now I understand the game's over and you're trying to get damage, and I understand that, but I think the better way to get damage would be definitely to come over to this knoll. Okay, let's continue. He does get a shot on the light tank, which is fantastic. Or maybe he doesn't. I could be wrong there, guys. Let me know in the comments. So he's not loaded yet. I think I would have waited and stayed out there to see if I could spot that guy on his way through. I think that you would have got a spot on him. So now that 430 is in on the Nook, and it's a really bad idea as a slower tank to push up now. So I think you're doing the right thing given the situation here. And that's why that 430 is going to pen you all day long. So I like backing off like you're leaving. And he does end up pushing, which is fine because the 430 is the last guy alive. So as soon as that STA takes his attention, Combat does push forward, which is an excellent play. That's the right play to make. And he keeps the hill between himself and the 430. Good play there. And now he's just looking for free shots. And he gets a shot and he gets safe. So at this point, you could take a hit from him, and I think I might have pushed forward and taken the hit from him, but you didn't do that, which actually turns out good because you get a ram kill, which secures you a kamikaze medal. So regardless of all of the things that I said, 2,700 damage, 1,200 assists, that's 4K combined in a Tier 9 game in what's essentially a Tier 7.5 tank. You did really well. I just want to see you do even better. So it's little things like that that matter. I really had to watch twice to actually pick through and find things that I found pertinent. And quite honestly, because I don't usually use mods, I might not have been able to make that play, but I do know you use mods, and so you know who's lit, where they're lit, and likely where the other guys are. So I think that use that information to your advantage. If you're going to use the mods, then go ahead and use that to your advantage and count up noses and figure out where you can go and where you can't go from there. Great play, great game, Combat. And you know, it's out of love that I correct a little bit, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the replay. We will definitely be putting up some more replay analysis. Send your analysis in, and we'll take a look at it, and we'll try and be positive and also give you some advice. So let's take a real quick look at the after action on this. Just be right back. Okay, here we are at the after action. Combat got a first class, which is a great result. He also got a kamikaze, which I like to see. Top of the team, 1,168 base XP. Beat the T-34-3 and the T-95s. And he ended up firing 12 shots, hit 7, penned 7, and did 2,100 to his assistance. Now, assistance sometimes will come after the guy goes dark, and it does not count that. So that's a great result. That's actually 4,800 combined. I'm surprised that wasn't an ace. Combat has a premium account, so he got 88,000 credits and 1,900 XP out of that. So I appreciate you sending it in. Please do send your replays in. I really love to do analysis and try and help players get better that want to improve. We will catch you on the next one.